Oh, welcome to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice and digital resource. We're telling the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. Kansas City Cares, KC Cares, is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. We are so lucky in Kansas City to be known as the home of Charlie Bird Parker, jazz legend, and Charlie's got a big birthday. This marks what would be his 100th birthday. And joining us is Macy Lane, who is Queen of Marketing for KC Jazz Alive and the big month-long celebration of Charlie Bird Parker's 100th birthday. Macy, thank you for taking time to chat with us about—
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
About all the incredible jazz opportunity here in the Kansas City area. Let's talk about KC Jazz Alive. That's the group that's been able to pull all of this together. Give us a peek at what KC Jazz Alive is all about.
Absolutely. So KC Jazz Alive, we are a nonprofit jazz organization that really works to raise the tide that lifts all jazz boats in Kansas City. So we work to support jazz musicians. We're working to support jazz venues. We're also working to support jazz educators. Our whole goal is to just elevate jazz in Kansas City and support those in the community that care about jazz. Our name is actually an acronym, so ALIVE, A for awareness, to raise awareness for great jazz events, musicians, venues that are going on in Kansas City. L is for listening, to serve as a listening body, to listen to all of those jazz voices and implement what we're hearing. I is for ideas, which is actually where the Spotlight Charlie Parker event came from. V is for voice, to serve as a voice for those in the jazz community. And then E is for exposure to resources. So we work to provide beneficial resources to jazz musicians and educators, students, and help them enhance their jazz careers.
Who is KC Jazz Alive? You're all volunteer. So tell us a little bit about the folks that are engaged in making all this happen.
Absolutely. So our board is a great team, small team, but mighty for sure. Our president co-founded the organization. His name is John McGraw. We've also got our vice president, Greg Carroll, as well as Steve Hargrave and Pam Hyder-Johnson. And the reason that Kansas City Jazz Alive was formed was because whenever John, Greg, Steve, and Pam came together, they thought, we really need kind of an umbrella organization to bring all of these jazz organizations and institutions together. So John McGraw was the president of UMKC Jazz Friends, so he kind of had the students. Greg Carroll was the CEO for the American Jazz Museum, so he had the institution. Steve Hargrave was the president of Kansas City Jazz Ambassadors, so had the people. And Pam Hyder-Johnson led the elder statesmen of Kansas City Jazz, so had the older musicians. And they kind of came together and created this catalyst organization to help enhance jazz in Kansas City and do everything that they could to make it stronger, make it more exciting to people that maybe didn't know how exciting and great it was.
Well, it's pretty amazing that you're all volunteer and you're able to make so much happen around a music genre that truly is Americana and so much of it based here.
It's so true. I don't want Kansas City Jazz Alive to get the credit for all of that, because we shouldn't. It is our jazz partners that make this happen. It's the people that are actually out there on stage playing. It's the people that are promoting an event on a Facebook Live or whatever. We're just here to kind of help coordinate and bring all of those voices together. We can't take the credit for how great jazz in Kansas City is. That's all for the musicians, the educators, the venue owners. That's just the jazz culture in Kansas City.
Well, you do have to give yourself some credit for being able to pull everybody to the table. Let's shift though to this month and all the excitement that's going on around Charlie Bird Parker's 100th birthday with Spotlight Charlie Parker. Tell us what that means.
It's crazy. You know, we had all of these really big plans to bring thousands of people together in 2020 to really celebrate Charlie Parker's 100th birthday, because you only get one of these. Things have changed, obviously, in a global pandemic. We've had to adjust our thinking and our strategy a little bit, but we're still so excited to be able to celebrate Bird and his 100th birthday virtually and in person. So Spotlight Charlie Parker is a joint effort with KC Jazz Alive, but all of our partners in jazz, to host a month-long celebration at various venues across the city to just support Kansas City jazz and celebrate Charlie Parker, who we claim here in Kansas City and who changed jazz forever.
So what does this month look like? How are we celebrating this milestone?
So we've got a lot of really exciting things happening, whether it's a live performance, whether it's a live stream, educational opportunities, tours, exhibitions. There's all kinds of really, really great things that are happening. Our first event actually kicked off in July. There was an opening reception for an exhibition at the American Jazz Museum that was co-curated by Chuck Haddix and Jerry Saunders, called Saxophone Supreme, The Life and Music of Charlie Parker. That was on July 19th and had a great turnout. It's still up, so anybody is welcome to go and tour and learn a little bit more about Charlie Parker. It's very, very well done, and I highly recommend anybody go and check that out. And from there, we're kicking it off at the American Jazz Museum. This is something that the American Jazz Museum does regularly. Lisa Henry leads this effort. It's a jazz storytelling. So what they're doing, it's kind of fun. It's for kiddos to go out, and they'll be outside and socially distant. They're even invited to bring hula hoops to stay socially distant so they don't run into each other. They're having kind of a birthday party for Charlie Parker. They're invited to bring noisemakers and party hats and all kinds of really fun stuff. And kids will get to go and listen to jazz storytelling about Charlie Parker. So that will happen on August 7th. All of this is available on our website. The full calendar is at spotlightcharlieparker.org. So we'll kick it off with that. And from there, it just gets better and better and better. There's live events at various venues. There's live streaming events at various places as well. But one that we're really excited about is Chris Burnett's effort to pull together a Bird boot camp on August 22nd. So this is an opportunity for students of all ages to come together and learn from some of Kansas City's most influential jazz educators on how to play and perform some of Charlie Parker's most famous compositions, but also just learn jazz from some of the greats here in Kansas City. So this is open to students of all ages. There are tons of social distancing measures that are being taken. There's partitions in between every seat, so it will be as safe as they can possibly make it. Chris Burnett has done a very, very good job of pulling all of this together. There will be great educators there like Dan Thomas, Bobby Watson. He will also be there with several others, so we're very excited about that. Tickets are still available, so you can find that on our website, spotlightcharlieparker.org, or go directly to birdbootcamp.com, I believe. But then after the boot camp, we're really, really excited about this one. So there's actually going to be a sax salute to Charlie Parker. So after these kiddos have spent all day, and not just kiddos, it's all ages, but after everybody has spent all day in this awesome boot camp, they're going to take what they have learned and go outside into the Jazz District at 18th and Vine. They'll be spaced accordingly, and they're going to play a sax salute to Charlie Parker. So all of these students, plus Dan Thomas, plus Chris Burnett, plus Bobby Watson, are going to be in the Jazz District playing tunes to honor Charlie Parker, and anybody is welcome to come. social distancing is highly recommended, and masks where that is not an option. But we're really excited about that one. I mean, anyone within a mile radius, I suspect, will be able to hear these tunes in the air, just celebrating and honoring Charlie Parker and his 100th birthday. So that's going to be a really, really good event. Additionally, on the 24th, this is an event that I love. I get excited about this one every year, and I love working with Brom Winans and Danny over at KC Beer Company. So on Monday the 24th at 5:30, there is going to be a live show with Brom Winans and his daughter Lucy. And then there's also going to be an appearance by Kadesh Flo, who I've never met, but I'm really excited to see what he's got to share with us as well. So KC Bierko, for those that don't know, they're down in the Waldo area off 79th and Warnall, and they have awesome German food and German beer. And while usually every year that we've done this, it's been packed to the gills, like just crazy amounts of people in a good way. Of course, this year we cannot do that. So tables are being purchased or being sold. So Ruth, if you and I wanted to go in and enjoy this show, we would buy a table for two. And I think that is $14 for a table for two. Masks are required until you sit down at your table. People can't stand and watch the show. You have to actually be at a table. But there are tables available for 2 people, 4 people, and even up to 6 people. So definitely worth it. If it rains, everybody will get a full refund, but we're hoping that we get a good weather day and get to listen to them play, because that will be so much fun. It is always just a ball. Get a big pretzel, maybe a sausage, and a good nice big German beer, and listen to some awesome music being performed. Additionally, there's another event that I'm really excited about. We haven't done this that I can remember, that I know of, but it's a spoken word tribute to Charlie Parker, and this is led by Glenn North. He's the director of the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Heritage Center, and he is a fantastic poet, so passionate about jazz and about Charlie Parker, so couldn't ask for a better person to do this. And this effort is supported by UNESCO Creative City, which a lot of people don't know. Kansas City actually is the city of music designated by UNESCO. Not Nashville, not New York, not New Orleans, it's Kansas City. We have that designation because of our rich jazz history, and that effort was led and coordinated by Jake Wagner with UMKC and Center for Neighborhoods, as well as Anita Dixon. Huge deal. I mean, huge. So to have their support on the spoken word tribute is really something. And that's taking place on Friday, the 28th of August, which is the day before Charlie Parker's birthday, from 5 to 7. This will be live streamed, so there won't be anything in person for this event, but we're still really excited about it. It's going to be chilling, I'm sure, and I can't wait for it. And then the big day, Charlie Parker's 100th birthday. We're starting early because we can't wait. We got to start super early for this one. So Saturday the 29th, we're going to kick off his birthday and bring him up with the sun for a Charlie Parker sunrise ceremony. So we'll gather at the Charlie Parker statue near the Jazz District at 6:15 because the sun rises officially at 6:45. We will have African drumming that is performed as the sun rises and as we bring up the sun on Charlie Parker's 100th birthday. And the music is going to be led by the Traditional Music Society, Bird Ellington Fleming. This is another event that is conducted and supported by the UNESCO City of Music. So we're very excited about that one. Bring your coffee along. We're going to get the morning started early. Following that, we're going to stay around the Jazz District and we're going to do a history tour. So this is a walking tour of the Jazz District where Charlie Parker used to play with other greats in the jazz world. So this will start at 9:30. We are actually doing 2 tours this time. Typically, we'll just do one big one where everybody gets together. This is led by Chuck Haddix with UMKC and KCUR, as well as Jake Wagner with UMKC and Center for Neighborhoods. So they are so knowledgeable about not only jazz, but about the history of the area. I mean, between the two of them, you couldn't ask for a better pair. I mean, Chuck Haddix literally wrote the book on Charlie Parker, and Jake Wagner is just a amazing pool of knowledge about buildings in Kansas City and neighborhoods and everything that's happened here. I mean, it's really something to see. So what we're doing is 26 people per tour. One is going to start at 9:30 and the other one will start at 10:30, just to keep it smaller so we can maintain social distancing throughout the tour. And we'll do a walking tour of the Jazz District. Like I said, this is where Charlie Parker used to live and breathe and walk and play. And there will be various stops at some of the monumental buildings around the area. You know, Mutual Musicians Foundation, very historical. Chuck and Jake know a lot about this building, so I definitely encourage everybody to get your tickets for that. Tickets are only $25, and it's an hour-long tour. Following the tour, everyone is invited to go into the American Jazz Museum and tour the exhibition Saxophone Supreme, the Life and Music of Charlie Parker, again, co-curated by Chuck Haddix and Jerry Saunders. That will be a really, really great way to learn more about Charlie Parker and his true influence on Kansas City and on jazz as a whole. And then following that, KCPT is actually doing a screening of a documentary called Bird, Not Out of Nowhere. So that will be from 7 to 8, and that will be live streamed. And the information for that is on our website, spotlightcharlieparker.org. And then additionally, there's a couple more things. Kansas City Museum is sponsoring a live streamed concert as well. More details on that will be added to the website this week. And then there's also an opportunity, if you reserve your seat at the Ambassador Hotel, you have to select outside seating, but Lonnie McFadden will perform there that evening. He was actually our featured artist 2 years ago, so he knows what this is all about. He has a very strong passion for Charlie Parker and is definitely going to be playing some Parker tunes that evening. So definitely recommend checking that out. But if you don't want to get out, if you want to just hunker in and celebrate Bird at home, tune in to Bird Not Out of Nowhere documentary screening, and then enjoy a live streamed concert hosted by the Kansas City Museum right from your couch.
I don't think you have enough things going on. I mean,
I
think you'd be really disappointed in the lack of activity.
I know it.
It's amazing, though, to me. Here you are, this entirely volunteer organization working with other organizations, and we're under this umbrella, as it were, of a pandemic. How have you been able to manage this? What's gone into making this happen?
Yeah, it's been really pretty good. You know, we're all fortunate to have great technology such as Zoom and, you know, Microsoft Teams. So every other week we have a committee of several of our jazz partners that we started meeting in January every other week. I don't think we've missed one. Maybe we missed one, but every other week we get together. We were doing it in person before the shutdown, and now we've just moved it over to Microsoft Teams. And we get together and we run through all of the events, give each other updates. Here's where we are with this. Here's where we are with that. Here's what needs to happen. And then 2 weeks later, we come back and it just continues. It hasn't been that difficult because of how much passion there is within the jazz community of Kansas City. I mean, these people that are helping coordinate all of this, because like I said, we're not the ones that are putting this on. We are just trying to coordinate the efforts and promote it. And the people that we've been working with have just done a phenomenal job of coordinating and pulling all of this together and bringing those updates every other week. We add it to the calendar, we add it to our promotion strategy. And by gosh, we have an event now. It's really incredible.
So a silver lining in some ways that you're maybe able to bring some of this to even a broader audience.
That is such a good point. You know, it really is, because I'm not sure that we would be able to have the reach that we're going to if we did all in person without that live streaming opportunity. Because with the documentary screening, for example, with all of these live events, there's opportunity for international exposure here. And we've been working closely with Jampool, who manages Charlie Parker's estate. And there is so much stuff happening worldwide to honor Charlie Parker in the month of August. And we are one part of that. And it's truly amazing. I mean, Charlie Parker is not just a jazz musician that came out of Kansas City. He changed jazz. And we're just lucky enough that we get to claim him as our own.
This is a big month, and it's Spotlight on Charlie Parker. Let's talk a little bit, though, about what KC Jazz Alive does when it's not August, and the focus is there.
Absolutely. So we, one of our events that we really like to do, it's so much fun to bring the jazz community together, is every other month we host a stakeholders meeting. So not everybody that joins necessarily is one of our stakeholders, but we see them as that because the jazz community is what makes KC Jazz Alive happen. So we host these events. They're typically led, we do panel discussions, and our moderator is Steve Kraske. Many people know him. He's with KCUR, used to work with the Star. He moderates awesome panel discussions where we bring different voices from the jazz community together. We've done educators. So we've had, educators from Johnson County Community College, from UMKC, all over the city. And he will come and pull together this really engaging conversation. And we used to do these in person, and we will again. But for now, they are being hosted through Zoom, which is great. And we've been getting really good turnouts for that. And what we do is we take those events and we listen. We listen to what everybody's saying because it's an open dialogue after, the panel discussion, and then all of our guests are able to chime in and, give their input and ask their questions. And we take those ideas and those thoughts and those questions, and we try to make implementable strategy around it. And we try to use those ideas and those voices to help elevate jazz in Kansas City however we can. We are an all-volunteer organization. Our board is amazing. We're very fortunate. But we are also in the middle right now of developing a strategic plan for the organization to really enhance our mission and what we do and expand our board and make our reach even greater.
So as an all-volunteer organization, what's the greatest challenge that you face? And how are you attacking that challenge?
I would say one of the challenges, our biggest challenge right now is HR. We just need people. As I mentioned, we are working on our strategic plan and are working to expand our board, but we all have these really awesome, great ideas, and we hear these great ideas from others in the jazz community, and we want to make all of that a reality, but we are a small team. There's only so many hours in the day. We need more people. We need people that are really excited about jazz, that care about it, to come and help us fulfill our mission in a stronger way. I mean, we can always use volunteers as well, especially whenever we're doing events. It's always helpful to have volunteers. One thing that we would love to be able to do is utilize the great jazz calendars that we have. So Live Jazz KC is managed by Herschel McWilliams, and it's just a Google calendar. It's awesome though. It has live jazz events every single day. You go to livejazzkc.com and see what's happening near you every day. I don't think that it's live right now because of COVID and many places are closed and they didn't want to report inaccuracies, but it'll get back. And then Jazz Near You is another really good jazz calendar in Kansas City that actually has international reach, but it will show you jazz that's happening here in Kansas City. So we would love to enhance the live performances that are happening throughout Kansas City and put them on those calendars. Of course, we are a small team. There's only so many hours in the day. So we would love to have volunteers that would be willing to do that and help support jazz musicians that don't have time to add all of their events to another calendar or don't know how. That is one area that we could definitely use some help in. And in order to help with that, it's contact us anytime. Our website is kcjazzalive.org. Click on that contact button and then let us know. We'll put you to work.
How and why did you get involved?
I got involved because of the president, John McGraw. So my day job is here at Buttonwood Financial Group. John McGraw is our president and founder here at Buttonwood. And I was working for a nonprofit organization in college. And John, just so happened, being the philanthropic guy that he is, was the president of that board. And we had talked about, what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a little bit more experience in events and nonprofit and marketing. And he said, well, I serve as a president for this KC Jazz Alive organization. Are you interested? And I thought, yeah, I have fallen in love with Kansas City since moving here. I know jazz is an important part of this city. I would love to be more a part of this. And it's been wonderful. I mean, like I said, the jazz community in Kansas City is really something. It's so much fun. There's so much character, so much passion. And I have made really great friends along the way. I have really fallen in love with jazz in Kansas City, with the people that I've met, and I wouldn't go back.
So I think some of us have a stereotype of jazz being the old guys playing on a stage in a smoke-filled small space. You're a younger face. What would you say to your peers about engaging, or what misperceptions do we have that you want to knock right now? Now's your moment.
I would say you're wrong if that's what you think. It is not for older people at all. I mean, the energy that comes off stage during a jazz performance is amazing. I mean, it truly is. For example, go down to the Phoenix downtown on a Friday night and watch Lonnie McFadden tap dance on stage. You can't tell me that's just for older people. I mean, the energy that comes out of him when he's doing that, you can feel it in your soul. I mean, it's wonderful. But there's everything from a high energy show like that to a nice dinner at Chaz on the Plaza, where there's wonderful food, but live jazz in the background. It is vibrant, and the passion of the musicians in Kansas City can be felt. Go to Green Lady Lounge. It's so much fun. It's so cool. They have awesome cocktails. Or go next door to Black Dolphin. It's it feels like a jazz club. It's so cool. If you think that it's for older people, you're wrong, because it's not. It's for everyone.
Well, Macy, thank you so much for sharing your passion with the celebration for Charlie Parker, but also KC Jazz Alive. And so exciting to hear that we're that UNESCO city.
Yes.
Our audience just learned a new fact. Hopefully,
it's
we brought
huge. That's
new and useful information. And we encourage our audience to go check out Spotlight Charlie Parker for sure during the month of August, but also KC Jazz Alive. You all need more hands to get on the oars, to lift all boats. I love the analogy. And we appreciate all that you're doing to make Kansas City a great community. We want to thank you all for listening to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, produced by Charitable Communications, also a Kansas City nonprofit. We're proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. If you'd like to be a guest on KC Cares or underwriting opportunities to support the work that we do to support nonprofits, please visit our website at kccaresonline.org. And you can spread the love. We're out there on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Cares Online. Thank you for listening to KC Cares. Go out and make a difference.